Hey guys, thanks for checking out Quick Sessions Podcast. My name is Garrett Terrio, coming to you from Houston, Texas, inside Timberline Fitness Studio. And today I want to talk about getting stronger. And that is a pretty broad area of fitness to talk about. So more specifically, I'm referring to the weight room. We're not talking about endurance training or sprinting or cycling or anything like that. Although getting stronger in those things is also important. We'll cover that another day. Today I'm talking about how to move the most weight during a particular lift. Okay, and today I'll probably be using bench press or squat as an example because those are such classic exercises that I feel everyone can relate to. Not that the other ones don't matter and that these principles don't also apply to being the strongest curler you can be, shoulder shrugger, whatever. I'm thinking about bench press and squat because I have two particular clients. Couldn't be more different. One's older, one's younger. One's very strong. One's strong for their frame and their age and all that, but you wouldn't think, oh my gosh, this guy is just so impressive. For his age, yeah, he is impressive. But anyway, training these guys, I've seen them develop over 5 to 8 years. And in those 5 to 8 years, we've definitely done some experimenting on what they respond to best. And some of this may seem obvious. Like Garrett, no kidding. Of course, if you do that, they'll get stronger. But you got to realize when you train people only 2 or 3 times a week, I'm at fault with it because there's not always a specific goal, right? Sometimes they want to focus on their squat more. Sometimes they want to focus on their deadlift, their bench press, their curls, their cardio, their core strength, whatever it may be. So what happens is you fall into a funk as a trainer a little bit. I shouldn't call it a funk, but you fall into a routine of trying to get everything as much as possible because there's almost a distrust about them working out on their off days. It's not that they don't always work out on their off days, but judging the efficiency of those workouts and how much improvement is actually made on those off days that are directly working towards the goal that you guys have set out, it's a struggle, right? It's almost a fear of missing out type of thing. You want to make sure they get the best possible work in for the time they spend in the gym. So one of the problems that I've dealt with that I think I'm getting better at putting behind me is trying to do too much in those 3 sessions and doing a better job of narrowing down, okay, what is the actual goal? And that is where most of our focus will go. Instead of spreading it around and increasing in the weight we move, the strength, being a little bit, almost at the point where you don't even notice it until further down the road. And then, God forbid, a month is taken off and they lose that, right? It seems to be more beneficial for some people just to focus on bench press. Let's just get the best bench press possible. The rest will work itself out. And it kind of does. Because when you can bench press a lot, you can do other things at a heavier weight also. It's just the way the human body works. The whole body wants to get stronger all the time. So sometimes focusing on just small sections of someone's fitness and adding them up over time does a better job than trying to do everything all the time. Now, if you have unlimited time in the gym, yeah, do everything all the time. That's great. If it's 5 days a week, maybe, sure, you can pull it off. But most people train 2 or 3 times a week between 30 minutes and an hour. So with that being said, with both these particular guys that I train, one of them, the big strong guy, does about a body part a week, right? He's a big strong guy, lifts a ton of weight, likes to get that recovery in, likes to do a lot of different stuff. This other guy, not quite as strong as guy A, I will say. We'll call him guy A and B. Guy B, we have switched over to, okay, let's just focus on this. And it's worked out great. And the differences that we installed into guy B's routine is kind of what I'm going to talk about and what I'm going to explain to you guys listening of things you yourself can do to increase strength. And like I said, some of this stuff may sound obvious, but sometimes you have to hear the obvious when you're in the gym every day, every other day for 10 years. Sometimes you kind of forget the basic stuff and think, oh yeah, I should go back to that. So the first thing I would say is something that a lot of veteran, strong guys sometimes have a hard time doing, and sometimes time is just your greatest enemy, making this hard to do. But the first thing I'm going to say is don't be afraid to hit a body part 2 or 3 times during a certain split. Now by split, a lot of people just have a week, right? Monday might be push day, Tuesday pull, Wednesday legs, take a break, abs and cardio on Friday, and then the split starts over. However you want to put it together. But most people go with the week. one thing that I think bodybuilding culture, as it's grown in popularity, as you have a more in-depth look at these professional muscle builders, these power lifters, these bodybuilders, is we get in the habit of just thinking, yeah, I just need 1 day a week to hit this particular body part, let's call it chest, and then I'll work on everything else after that, right? Monday's chest day. There's a stereotype of that for a reason. Number one, because everybody does chest on Monday, because the odds are they didn't work out on Sunday, and they're ready to get back to it. But it's funny, they don't call it Monday, Thursday chest, right? And it kind of goes to show you people are just hitting a particular body part once a week. And, all right, if you're a professional bodybuilder, amateur professional power lifter, this next part's not for you. But for everyone else, you are not a bodybuilder. You are not a power lifter. You are not stressing your muscles to the extent that they need a 6-day break, right? Almost nobody with the proper diet needs that, including the bodybuilders. Most of them will hit a body part twice in a week, or at least in their, they might have shorter 5-day splits to where they can sometimes get it twice in a week, sometimes not. Point is, you're not them. You're a regular person who is in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, maybe some 20-year-olds, and you go in, you get a workout. It can be a good workout. You can even get a little sore. But odds are you are not stressing your muscles to the extent that working out your chest 2 days after is going to hurt you or break your muscles down in a bad way, or you're going to get injured. And I see that a lot. There's tons of people, the 1 day a week, they'll do a certain body part. And the truth is, to get stronger, you can't do it. Guy B, all we've done is added 1 more day. He gets a day or 2 days of rest. And man, Guy B's, he went from, let's see if I can remember this right. He went up, I think on his 6 rep max, he went up almost 30% in 2 months just from adding an extra day. And that's literally all he did different, as far as I know, is we just added an extra day. It was Monday, Thursday was chest. And his bench press went up 30% just in 2 months. Almost 2 months to the day, actually, that I'm doing this podcast. And it makes sense, right? You work it more, you'll get stronger. And they say, oh, well, you don't grow in the gym, you grow resting. Yeah, but no one needs that much rest. Remember, I am talking to the non-pro athlete, bodybuilder, powerlifters. You just don't need it. I'm yet to see someone that just goes so hard every time they go to the gym. And the truth is, you just can't. You don't have time. Everybody has jobs. They have wives, kids, other hobbies. No one's going in there for 3 hours and blasting chest on a Monday where it doesn't directly affect their business, right? And when you're splitting them up, when you're doing 2 or 3, let's say you do 3 days of chest. After hearing this podcast, you do 3 days of chest. You don't have to do the same reps, right? Like I said, we're not bodybuilders or athletes where we gotta, periodize everything and go, 6 weeks of high reps, 6 weeks of medium, 6 weeks of short. Go heavy on Monday. Go medium on Wednesday. Go light on Friday. Effort has to all be there, but you don't have to stick to just one rep range for growth because you're getting more volume overall. And volume really doesn't trump everything, but as far as development of your chest, which leads to bigger strength on the bench press, getting that volume is crucial. It allows those muscles to keep firing. They remember what to do. They remember how to recruit other muscles to help you out. They remember the weight. It just works out that way. And even if you can't get it 3 days a week, at least keep it involved. Let's say you do chest on Monday and you do back on Tuesday and you want to do legs on Wednesday. Get some light chest. Get some cable flies in between your squats. Get some push-ups, some dips, something. You don't have to dedicate a whole day to that body part. You can add it on later. And that kind of brings me to point number 2. Your body, the human body, is so good at adapting, you have to change up the order you do your lifts, the weight, the reps, the cadence, the order during your workout of what you do. And it's not that your muscles have some magical computer in it that's saying, oh, it's this exact weight, let's do that, right? If you don't switch up all these things I just mentioned, that's when you're going to plateau. And even these 2-3 days a week are going to start becoming stagnant, right? The increased volume isn't the trump card when it comes to stagnation. And you can switch up the lifts pretty easy. I mean, you can do something as simple as, let's use bench press as an example. Day 1, do straight bar, bench press, followed by dumbbell flies, and yada yada. Day 2, you can do incline dumbbells with cable flies, right? And then day 3, you can do the hammer strength chest press with dips and push-ups. Whatever else it is, I can't even think. You can go close grip, wide grip, incline, decline, flat bench, straight bar, dumbbells, cables. There's so many different machines nowadays that you can get away with switching up your exercise to where you can do 3 days of chest and only flat bench press once. And during that same week, you don't have to do the same number of reps, right? You don't have to do 4 sets of 6 on everything. You can do 4 sets of 6 on Monday, 4 sets of 10 on Wednesday, and 3 sets of 20 on Friday for everything. It doesn't matter if you're not specifically training for a competition or athletic event. So that brings me to my third point, talking about variation. One thing gets neglected a lot is the secondary muscles and the antagonist muscles. Now, what are those? I'll use chest as my prime example because it's the easiest. When you bench press, it's not just your chest working. It's your back, your shoulders, your traps, your triceps, even your hamstrings a little bit. So working those secondary muscles is extremely important, right? Like if you're bench pressing, go ahead and throw in some side shoulder raises with it and some tricep push downs. That's, chest and tris is a popular workout because working that secondary muscle goes hand in hand. Now, on top of working secondary muscles, it's also smart to work some antagonist muscles. Now, I like to do these the next day, but I also like to go back to back on some of them. For instance, chest, the main antagonist would be the back. I guess you use your back as you're lowering the bar. So it's not even a full true antagonist, but most people don't do back and chest on the same day. You definitely can, but I tend to split mine up. But a better example might be bicep, tricep, right? The antagonist of the bicep is the tricep. So what I like to do is after you do your bicep curls, go do some triceps. Stretch your bicep out, do the antagonist muscle that was just fighting against the muscle you were trying to work, and then get that thing working. Because then the muscle you just worked is now fighting against the new exercise. And it's great for growth. It gets the entire arm involved, gets all the muscles firing, gets them recruiting. It's a great way to do it. Just like, if you're working glutes, get some leg extension, get some quads in there, right? If you want to go anti-quad, go hamstring right after. Go leg extension followed by leg curl. It's a great way to get the entire leg working. And anytime you can get your entire body working at the same time, you're just going to be stronger. That's just how it works. Because every contraction has an eccentric contraction, and that's where the antagonist takes over most of the time. And having that well-rounded strength ultimately leads to strength in the individual lift that you're trying to improve. So you want to bench press big? Work your back. Work your shoulders, work your triceps. There's no way around it. I guess you don't need to work your quads to get better at bench press. So there's one you don't really have to worry about. I bet it'll help somehow, though, in some being grounded kind of way. So that's kind of a long-winded way to say work everything, but I'll narrow it back down when we're talking about, let's say, strongest bench press. Got to get a strong back. Got to have strong antagonist muscles, and you also have to work on those secondary muscles. Now we're talking about switching up the routines. This brings me to point number 4, and I see this all the time. And it drives me nuts because I've always been a pretty fast lifter. I've always tried to get the exercise over with as quickly as possible. Once again, power lifters, if you're listening to this, this is not for you. I understand you don't get to take advantage of speed in your particular sport, but switch up the pace of your lifts. Don't go slow like a power lifter. It can feel great of stretching the muscle, and you can tell me it gives you a more well-developed chest. I'm not saying it has no place in your workout routine, but if you're just trying to get stronger, remember, we want to move the most weight for a certain number of reps on a particular lift. We are being goal-oriented. We are choosing bench press as our goal. Don't worry so much about, it bounces off your chest, or if you got bad shoulders, don't worry so much about going all the way down. Just get in there and just rep out the reps. Just go fast. Have some explosion. And let me not get ahead of myself. Here's the 4 reasons to go fast. I was thinking, I jotted these down. Number 1 is it gives you some rhythm. Rhythm helps with everything, and I know we don't think about rhythm in the weight room that much, but if you've ever played a sport, you understand the importance of rhythm. Every quarterback has to have rhythm, basketball player, baseball player. Rhythm is timing, so you can use those interchangeably sometimes. But rhythm is such a good thing because what it does is it brings in the rest of your body into the lift. And that's kind of my number 2, is get your whole body going. If your butt comes up a little bit bench pressing while you're going fast, so what? Don't hurt yourself. Just get your butt down. Keep it in your mind. But if you're cruising, you're trying to get, 225 pounds up in 10 reps, and you're just trying to go as fast as you can, while you have the energy before you get tired. So what? We're trying to move as much weight as possible, right? Your butt comes up a little bit, no big deal. Your foot slides a little bit, no big deal. The arch in your back flattens out, no big deal. Just go. Get that rhythm, get down, and explode, which that's the third one I'm bringing to you. Explosion. It's so important. And here's why it is important, is because in your body you have 3 energy systems, right? You have the creatine phosphate system, you have your anaerobic system, and you have your aerobic system. The first one is the one that we care about, those that are trying to get stronger, the creatine phosphate system. Now what that does is when you're ready to lift, the energy used is ATP, adenosine triphosphate. The creatine in your body, the creatine phosphate, it creates the ATP breaks apart, and your fast twitch muscles take over, and you're repping them out. Now, here's the catch. It only lasts about 10 seconds. If you're not in great shape, it can be less. If you're in very good shape, it could be a little bit more, but we're talking a second or 2 more. No one has a 20-second creatine phosphate energy system. Now, that is always going to be your most explosive system, and you have 10 seconds. So if I told you, okay, you have 10 seconds to lift this, how many reps will you get? Well, if you can get more in that first 10 seconds, that means the rest of the reps that take place in the next energy system have a better chance of reaching that goal. So let's say your goal is 275 pounds for 10 reps. Man, you need to try to get that in the first 10 seconds. That should be the goal. It's to just knock it out. And going slow, 3-second count down and 1 up, you're getting 2 or 3 reps. And after that, you don't have the most efficient energy system, which means your muscles will not be able to fire as efficiently as they could have if you'd have just hurried up. And that's about as simple as I can break it down. And that is also my biggest argument for why you should just hurry, just go. Quit worrying about, if you're going to injure yourself, obviously don't. But I've yet to meet anybody that's injured anything while performing the bench press. I've seen people get injured trying to rack after a bench press or hurt a pec on the way down. But that wasn't because they were going fast. It was because they were overloaded with weight. And then the fifth thing, which will be somewhat hard for me to explain, because if you're listening to this and you have some sort of, maybe you don't follow a plan for eating, but you have an idea of what you're going to eat on training days, what you take after your workout. So I don't know what you're doing. And there's plenty of people that are struggling to get stronger who probably have great eating habits. What I'm here to say is if you don't do this, then there's no chance. You don't have a way of getting stronger. You don't have fuel for your body. And what that is increasing your calorie intake. Whenever you are dieting, for instance, let's say you're working at a big calorie deficit, it's going to be hard to get stronger. You can do it, but if your goal is to get stronger, operating at a calorie deficit is not ideal. You want to load up when you're getting stronger. You'll hear the term bulking. Like, yeah, it's bulking season. I'm going through a bulk. It's basically saying we're going for size and strength, and we're okay holding a little extra body fat. Then you'll have people say they're going through a cutting cycle, in which they're operating at a calorie deficit, and their only goal is to just maintain. They'd love to get stronger, but if they can just maintain their strength, maintain their lean muscle mass, then it's a successful cut. Getting stronger, to truly have a goal and to get stronger in it, you gotta eat. You gotta eat before, you gotta eat after, and you gotta eat maybe a little more than you think. I'm not saying pig out on a pizza, but maybe you do need 50 grams of protein instead of 30 after your workout. Maybe you need an extra 20 before. Maybe you need an extra scoop of oatmeal in your protein shake right after, and some peanut butter. You gotta feed growth, because these muscles of yours, of ours, as human people, crave nutrition whenever they are stressed. When you're breaking them down, because that's what exercising is, you're breaking down muscle. And to build it up, you need quality carbs, quality protein, quality fats. And if you're not increasing, I say caloric intake, if you're not increasing your protein and carbs before and after your lift, you're going to have a hard time maintaining any kind of strength gain you get in the gym. And like I said, I can't really go into a big spiel about it and give you exact diet plans because who knows what you're eating? I have no clue. Anybody that tries to tell you they have a meal plan, they have no clue what you've been eating, I wouldn't trust it one bit. So, as a rule of thumb, all I'll say, increase the protein and carbs before and after. I'm not a big eater before an exercise, but if I'm going for strength, like a goal, like a strength goal, I'm going to make sure to eat a high protein meal before I go lift. It just helps. You feel stronger, you have more energy. And carbs too, I'm not anti-carbs, I'm just thinking about how I do it. I normally wait to get my carbs until right after my exercise. So that's about it. To summarize the 5 points, 1 is quit just hitting body parts once a week. Number 2 is quit doing the exact same exercise and the rep range and all that. Number 3, train the secondary muscles and the antagonist muscles. Number 4, pick up the pace of your lifts. Go faster. Quit resting as much in between sets. Forgot to mention that part. And then number 5, increase your calorie intake. I say calorie, what I mean is protein and carbs. More fat isn't necessarily going to help you, but it definitely has its place. Anyway, I know this one was kind of long, guys. I hope you stuck through it. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed the podcast, please give us a good rating and some 5-star reviews in the Apple Pod Center. Also, we're now on Spotify, so that's exciting. We had a little title issue with the people down at Spotify, but I think we got it figured out. Also, follow us on Instagram, Quick Sessions Podcast. Thanks for checking it out, guys, and I'll see you next time.